Something just dropped behind the scenes of one of America's most powerful youth movements, and it's about to blow up. An insider within Turning Point USA has stepped forward, revealing shocking new details about Erika Kirk's rise and the mysterious chief of staff pulling the strings behind the scenes. They say what you're being told is only half the story. From secret memos to undisclosed power transfers, this isn't just normal exec drama. It's a full-blown influence shift with consequences. The mission, control, the stakes, massive. And the question on everyone's mind, who really runs the show now? Buckle up, because what's coming next isn't safe for operatives. It's public. It all started with a message. A DM sent in the middle of the night from someone claiming to work deep inside Turning Point USA. At first, it seemed like just another tip, something to be dismissed, maybe a clout chaser fishing for attention. But the more this anonymous whistleblower revealed, the harder it became to ignore. Screenshots, calendar invites, audio snippets, names, locations, timelines. And at the center of it all, Erika Kirk. For those unfamiliar, Erika Kirk isn't just Charlie's widow. She's quickly becoming one of the most powerful and polarizing figures in the conservative youth movement. After Charlie's tragic and very public death, most assumed she'd take time to grieve, maybe even retreat from the political spotlight. But instead, she did the opposite. Within 72 hours, Erika was back on camera, holding meetings, making decisions, and calling shots most believed only Charlie ever had the authority to make. That alone sparked whispers. But what this insider revealed took everything to another level. According to this source, Erika's return wasn't just a grieving widow finding strength, it was a calculated move months in the making. They claim that for weeks before Charlie's death, private meetings were being held between Erika and a man only referred to in the internal emails as CS. At first, nobody knew who that was, but the documents provided, screenshots of internal Slack messages and planning boards, identified CS as none other than TPUSA's newly appointed chief of staff, a man who reportedly never held any prior visible role in the organization, yet now seems to hold more power than anyone else behind the scenes. The source alleges that CS was planted, not hired through official TPUSA channels, not vetted through the usual executive approval pipeline, but instead handpicked by Erika herself under the guise of temporary strategic advisor and quickly positioned to oversee department heads, restructure content approval, and even oversee financial routing for brand partnerships. The shift happened so quietly, most TPUSA staff didn't realize until it was too late. Some say he's a genius strategist brought in to stabilize the chaos after Charlie's passing. But others, especially longtime staff, are calling it a coup. One senior member even described it as a hostile takeover disguised as leadership continuity. And it doesn't stop there. The insider claims the board was never informed about the extent of CS's power until after the first round of restructuring emails went out. Suddenly, directors were being replaced, budgets were frozen, entire media teams were gutted. And any internal pushback was swiftly met with closed-door warnings or sudden terminations. Within a week, nearly 30 staffers were gone. Most had been with the organization for years. Some had been fiercely loyal to Charlie Kirk himself. Now, they were replaced by new names, new faces, people with unknown pasts but surprisingly close ties to Erika's church circle and high society friends. And if that wasn't enough to raise eyebrows, there was one more thing the insider couldn't ignore. A private strategy deck allegedly leaked from an executive planning meeting that laid out a rebranding initiative called TPUSA 2.0. On page 1, bold text read, "Consolidate control, elevate influence, eliminate uncertainty." The next few slides revealed an outline for shifting public attention away from Charlie's legacy and refocusing the brand around a new era of female-led vision. Erika's name was mentioned repeatedly, described as the future face of TPUSA. Her podcast, her Instagram brand, her connections with celebrity conservatives were all highlighted as primary assets to the movement's expansion. Some on the board reportedly raised concerns, asking whether Erika's sudden prominence might come across as opportunistic. But those voices were dismissed, according to the source, with one reply reading, "The public craves strength after tragedy. Erika is that strength." To the outside world, maybe it looked empowering, but to insiders watching their departments collapse and their leadership stripped, it felt like a purge. A controlled burn to erase the past and replace it with a future built around one name, Erika Kirk. And standing next to her in the shadows, whispering strategy and signing approvals, was the mysterious chief of staff. No press releases, no welcome announcement, just sudden authority and total control. The source ended their message with a chilling note. "You're only seeing the surface. Erika's not mourning. She's moving. And if people don't wake up, they're going to find themselves in a very different turning point than the one Charlie built." The question is, was this the plan all along? Or did something darker set this entire machine in motion? Because if what this insider says is true, then the real power struggle at TPUSA isn't over. It's only just beginning. Behind the walls of Turning Point USA's Phoenix headquarters, things are not what they seem. After Charlie Kirk's sudden death, the official narrative painted a portrait of unity, resilience, and mission-driven focus. But according to multiple sources, including the original insider and two former staffers who have now come forward off the record, the truth is far more chaotic and potentially dangerous. One of the most chilling revelations? Charlie allegedly suspected something was going wrong weeks before his death. In a now-deleted group chat message that was screenshotted before being scrubbed, Charlie reportedly told a close team member, "If I go down, look at the people closest to me." That message, vague and ominous, took on a horrifying new context after his death. Erika was, of course, one of the people closest to him. But so was the man now serving as chief of staff. And the question insiders are asking is simple. How did this person rise so quickly through the ranks without anyone noticing until after Charlie was gone? The more you dig, the stranger it gets. According to the whistleblower, CS had no visible paper trail, no public-facing LinkedIn, no history of working for any known conservative organization. Just a few photos from a luxury event in Scottsdale where Erika Kirk was the keynote speaker 6 months before the tragedy. He was in the background in several shots, wearing a sharp navy suit and whispering in her ear between segments. One staffer who attended that event said he wasn't introduced formally, but he was clearly treated like someone important. "He had an earpiece," the staffer said, "like Secret Service or some kind of handler. It gave me chills." After Charlie's death, CS began appearing at board meetings, not as a guest, but as a decision maker. At first, staff assumed he was sent by donors or outside legal counsel, but then came the access. He had clearance to financial systems, content databases, even Charlie's unpublished speaking calendar. That was when the panic started. Department heads realized they were being bypassed. Budget approvals were redirected to CS. Media releases had to go through him. Even executive travel requests were being rerouted to his assistant. One team member, who asked to remain anonymous, said they were reprimanded after questioning the new chain of command. "We were told Erika is CEO now. CS represents her voice." That was all they said. No room for questions. Just obey. But the most alarming part wasn't even CS's power. It was the things he began removing. Internal documents showed dozens of Charlie's projects were suddenly marked obsolete. Podcasts, campus tour plans, international partnerships, wiped clean in a matter of days. In their place, new initiatives aligned with Erika's personal brand. Her podcast, Midnight Oil, was given a full team. Budget allocations were pulled from education outreach and redirected to social media advertising. TPUSA's core identity, the The grassroots, student-centered energy Charlie built from scratch was slowly being dismantled. And in its place, a sleek influencer-style operation designed to amplify Erika's image and message. She even replaced the organization's longtime PR head with a celebrity publicist from Los Angeles, known for representing reality TV stars and Instagram influencers. "It's not about principles anymore," one staffer said. "It's about optics, about building Erika into the next queen of conservative media." Even her wardrobe began to change. Gone were the modest outfits she wore during Charlie's time. Now it was designer heels, stylized photo shoots, branded lighting, polished to perfection. She was no longer just Charlie Kirk's widow. She was becoming a brand. And that brand was eclipsing everything TPUSA had once stood for. The internal staff wasn't the only group noticing the shift. Donors too began raising eyebrows. According to a leaked fundraising report, 3 major contributors expressed concern over the direction of the organization. One memo reads, "There is concern that Erika's rise appears opportunistic. We support the mission, not personality cults." Another note from a former board member simply stated, "Charlie's death was a tragedy. What followed has been a takeover." But those concerns were met with carefully worded responses from Erika's new team, assuring donors that everything was part of the natural evolution of a rapidly growing organization. One particularly audacious line from the internal communications reads, "Movements must modernize or perish. TPUSA is not immune. Modernize or monopolize? Because what's happening doesn't look like growth. It looks like a consolidation of influence under one woman and her mysterious advisor. And the media hasn't caught on yet." Publicly, Erika continues to play the grieving widow card, smiling through interviews, honoring Charlie's memory, and posting throwback pictures on Instagram with heartfelt captions. But behind the scenes, her hands are on the wheel. And CS? He's steering the engine. Together, they've silenced dissent, rebranded the mission, and positioned Erika as the new face of youth conservatism. The scariest part? Nobody knows who this man really is. And if he wasn't appointed by Charlie, and if the board never approved him, and if the staff never voted on him, then who does he actually serve? Because if it's not the mission Charlie built, then the question becomes terrifying. What mission is being built now? As the curtain continued to lift behind the TPUSA power shift, something even more disturbing came into focus. Financial irregularities. And not just small ones. We're talking 6-figure transfers, ghost consulting invoices, and redacted expense reports that even internal auditors couldn't explain. One whistleblower provided details of a $280,000 communication strategy invoice paid to a shell company registered only 2 weeks after Charlie Kirk's death. The listed contact? A woman who used to intern for a DC lobbying firm with ties to Erika Kirk's podcast network. And guess who signed off on the wire transfer? Not the treasurer, not legal. It was CS. When the finance team asked for backup documentation, they were allegedly told to stop digging. From that point forward, access to accounting systems was slowly restricted. The person who initially leaked these findings was fired within days. Their exit email never reached the company-wide inbox. They were erased like they never existed. This prompted internal speculation that Charlie had begun his own audit before his death. Multiple sources claimed he had voiced concerns about missing money and invisible contracts months earlier. One even alleged that Charlie told them, "I think someone is siphoning off our donor money." It's that suspicion that now drives the theory that Charlie's death wasn't just tragic, it may have been convenient. Think about the timing. Just days before his death, Charlie cancelled a major overseas speaking event, citing urgent internal issues. 3 days after his murder, Erika announced she was stepping into a leadership role and would honour Charlie's legacy by guiding TPUSA into a new era. An era that now looks less like a legacy and more like a hostile rebrand. That same week, Nearly a dozen longtime staff members were either reassigned, demoted, or simply disappeared from the org chart. Some left voluntarily, others, reportedly, were pushed. According to one inside memo obtained by a former media coordinator, Erika is the new heartbeat of TPUSA. We move forward or we get left behind. Outside the organization, this was all obscured. Erika's carefully curated image told a different story. Heartfelt tributes to Charlie, polished interviews about carrying the torch, and inspirational podcast episodes about faith, strength, and destiny. But behind closed doors, morale plummeted. Campus coordinators, once the lifeblood of the org, started leaking messages. One TikTok user, an anonymous ex-volunteer, claimed that the entire field team was told to stop referencing Charlie Kirk's name in pitch decks, unless it was about fundraising. They were allegedly instructed to use Erika Kirk's story as the lead-in for all donor meetings. One handler reportedly told volunteers, "This isn't the old TPUSA. You're selling inspiration now, not ideology." That's a far cry from the grassroots platform that brought TPUSA to prominence. What's worse, donor outreach scripts were updated to include stories about Erika's visionary leadership, with internal guides literally using the word queen-like presence. That's not movement building. That's cult of personality strategy 101. And here's where things get even darker. Several sources now claim that Erika's Chief of Staff, CS, has a direct line of communication with individuals outside the conservative movement entirely. One name that popped up repeatedly? A man associated with a progressive media analytics firm that allegedly specializes in narrative inversion. That term might sound vague, but insiders say it means this: taking opposition messaging and reframing it in a way that draws emotional sympathy, confusion, or misdirection. In short, psychological warfare. Why would TPUSA be aligning with people who worked on PSYOPs campaigns? Why would Erika's inner circle include consultants trained in political misdirection? And if this was happening without Charlie's knowledge, or worse, before he was removed, then what else was going on beneath the surface? Another layer of concern came when TPUSA alumni began speaking out. Two former board advisors went on record with anonymous posts alleging that Erika had been positioning herself to take over, long before Charlie's assassination. One advisor wrote, "There were always whispers. Erika's team kept saying things like, 'It'll be our time soon,' or 'Charlie doesn't have the longevity to run TPUSA forever.' At the time, it felt like ambition. Now, it feels like premeditation." That same post referenced a chilling moment at a 2024 leadership summit where Erika allegedly told a small group of donors that legacy only matters when it's in the right hands. That quote has since resurfaced, going viral in Telegram circles and niche conservative blogs. The implication is clear. Some believe Erika was quietly preparing for a transition of power that Charlie never authorized. At this point, even staunch TPUSA supporters have begun asking questions. One of the most damning pieces of evidence came from an ex-employee who shared photos of Erika's private office. Inside were vision boards, not of movement strategy or policy goals, but of her own face. Magazine mock-ups, branding phrases, and even mood boards labelled Power Elegance and Faithful Fame. One staffer said it looked more like the planning room for a reality show than a political action organisation. And maybe that's the point. Because Erika isn't just leading TPUSA, she's turning it into her own empire. And anyone who questions the narrative, silenced, removed, or discredited. Now, as more whistleblowers begin to step forward, the pieces are falling into place. This wasn't just a tragedy. This might have been a plan that began with whispers, moved in the shadows, and now stands in plain sight, draped in elegance, wrapped in scripture, and protected by a man no one really knows. The people closest to Charlie are either gone or scared to speak. But one former executive said it best: TPUSA didn't just lose its leader, it lost its soul. The question now is, can it be saved? If Part 3 pulled back the veil, then what happened next tore it clean off. It started with a leaked voice memo, 37 seconds long, a hushed recording from inside a closed-door meeting between Erika Kirk and her chief of staff. The memo was anonymously posted to an encrypted conservative forum and quickly spread to fringe journalists and Telegram whistleblower channels. In the audio, a woman sounding unmistakably like Erika is heard saying, "Control isn't about consensus, it's about confidence. If they believe I belong here, then I do. Charlie gave this to me, he just didn't know it yet." Her chief of staff replies, "Then let's act like we've already won." That was all it took. The whispers became a roar. Screenshots of Slack messages, internal memos, and off-the-record texts started pouring out. Former staffers, previously quiet, now felt emboldened to speak. And what they revealed was shocking. Allegedly, Erika had been building a shadow cabinet inside TPUSA for over a year. Hand-picked staff loyal to her, bypassing Charlie's traditional leadership, creating their own chain of command under the radar. This shadow team controlled media strategy, donor outreach, and even curated what intelligence Charlie would see in his daily briefings. One former assistant admitted, "Sometimes we'd redact things we thought would upset him. Erika said it was to keep him focused. Now I realize it was to keep him blind." Other insiders claimed that donor money was being diverted into separate accounts used exclusively for Erika's media ventures and future political ambitions. Not TPUSA's future, her future. One former board member said she wasn't interested in building Charlie's legacy. She was building her own brand, period. And now the biggest twist of all, a private investor memo obtained by a whistleblower journalist showing that just 1 month before Charlie Kirk's death, Erika was in talks with a major cable network to develop a show called American Virtue with Erika Kirk. The pitch? A faith and values political talk show set to air on Sunday mornings. The shocking part? The memo listed her as CEO of TPUSA. But this was before Charlie died, before any official changes. That memo was dated August 4th, 2025. Charlie Kirk was killed on September 10th. Do the math. This wasn't a reaction, it was a prelude. If that's not suspicious, nothing is. Let's go deeper. Erika's sudden rise coincided with a wave of mysterious donor behavior. Longtime megadonors, people who had supported Charlie from the beginning, either pulled their funding entirely or switched to anonymous donations. One source said, "There was a pattern. If you asked too many questions about the new leadership, your name disappeared from the donor recognition board." Another claimed their emails to Erika went unanswered until they rebranded their foundation to sound more Erika-aligned. This kind of gatekeeping wasn't about loyalty to the movement, it was about loyalty to one woman. Erika Kirk, now the center of a media empire, a political movement, and, some say, a growing cult of personality. Meanwhile, Charlie's own family has remained largely silent. No public investigations, no lawsuits, no pushback. Some believe they were paid off. Others suggest they were intimidated or convinced to stay quiet in exchange for preserving Charlie's legacy. But one anonymous source close to the family dropped a bombshell. Charlie's parents think something's off. They just don't know who to trust. And honestly, I think they're scared. Scared of what? Maybe it's not just about losing their son. Maybe it's about what they'd uncover if they pulled the thread. And now, enter the political implications. In recent months, Erika Kirk has been seen meeting with operatives tied to the New Right, figures with links to shadow campaigns, dark money PACs, and ultra-conservative think tanks that believe America needs a soft reboot. The idea? Collapse the current Republican establishment and rebuild it in the image of something more centralized, more faith-based, more controlled. Erika's name has now been floated as a future cabinet pick, potentially even a faith advisor to a future administration. That administration? The same one she was quietly lobbying before Charlie's death. Coincidence? Maybe, but probably not. And as her chief of staff continues to operate in the background, one thing is clear. This man isn't just a glorified scheduler. He's a fixer, a handler, a strategist with access to confidential files, encrypted platforms, and high-level donor data. He is rarely photographed. He doesn't speak at events, but staffers say everything runs through him. You want to speak to Erika? You go through him. Want to challenge Erika? You answer to him. One former team lead called him a velvet hammer. Quiet, smooth, but devastating when he strikes. Another described an incident where a regional director tried to report donor fund inconsistencies. Within 2 weeks, her division was dissolved and she was told her services were no longer aligned with the mission. And what is the mission now exactly? That's the biggest question of all. Because TPUSA doesn't look like the activist machine Charlie Kirk built anymore. It looks like a media brand, a polished stage for one person's voice. Events are now themed around faith-forward leadership. The youth summits are more about worship music than debate. Dissenting voices have been purged. And former allies, some who were once Erika's biggest fans, now whisper words like manipulation, power grab, and even setup. So where does this all go next? According to documents from a leaked digital roadmap, Erika's team plans to launch a national campus revival tour next year. The internal goal? Secure 500,000 new student pledges of allegiance, not to conservative principles, but to the Kirk vision, a loosely defined ideology that merges Christian nationalism, anti-globalist sentiment, and what one memo calls narrative obedience. If that doesn't raise red flags, you're not paying attention. Because it's no longer about honoring Charlie's legacy. It's about rewriting it. If your jaw isn't on the floor yet, it should be. What started as whispers about Erika Kirk's sudden rise has exploded into a full-blown avalanche of leaked memos, secret meetings, and receipts that paint a picture too calculated to ignore. But now it's your turn. What do you make of everything that's been exposed? Do you believe Erika was quietly orchestrating a power grab before Charlie Kirk's tragic death? Is her chief of staff just a loyal aide, or the mastermind behind the curtain? Are we watching a woman preserve her husband's legacy, or rewrite it for herself? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because this rabbit hole is only getting deeper. And if you think this is the last bombshell, think again. Hit that like button, smash subscribe, and turn on notifications, because what's coming next will blow the lid off this story in ways you won't believe. Trust me, we're just getting started.